From the basketball paint to the bookstore, our next guest has skills on and off the court.
He's a New York Knicks forward that just penned his second children's book, NBA champion and author, Metta World Peace. Welcome to Arise 360.
Thanks for having me.
Metta World Peace.
Yes.
That's quite the name.
It's quite the swag.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we get to the book,
swag.
let's talk about the name. 2 years ago, you changed it from Ron Artest Jr. to Metta World Peace. What prompted the change, and what does your new name mean?
Well, you know, often in the communities that we grow up in, sort of evolving, you know, very dysfunctional, you know, neighborhoods, households, and things like that. And as I become older, more conscious, you know, you kind of find yourself. You know, you kind of start to understand who you are, you know, as a person. But you still want to keep that swag, that spunk about you. So I'm not, you know, totally Mr. Preacher, you know, so to speak. But, you know, I thought Metta World Peace was a cool name. It's legal. You know, it's not illegal.
You legally changed your name to Metta World Peace.
I legally changed my name, and it's some people, they criticized me when I did it. They called me crazy for doing something that was legal, something that I wanted to do personally.
So your passport reads Metta World Peace.
Yeah, Metta World Peace.
So when you go to Europe and you pull out your blue book,
Metta World Peace.
Metta World Peace.
Metta World Peace.
No way.
Well, I'm Baptist. I grew up a Baptist. My religion changed slightly, but Metta is actually a Buddhist name. I'm into Buddhism and peace and being very spiritual and things like that. And world peace is just obviously, you know, it's necessary because there's so many selfish, you know, people out there that would love to see, you know, this world at war.
What's the difference between Ron Artest and Metta World Peace?
There's no difference. You know, we both from, you know, from the hood.
Okay.
Queensbridge Projects, a product of our environment, a product of slave trade, you know, product of struggle, a product of beautiful parents, but dysfunctional parents. You know, it's the same person, just somebody who's evolving, becoming more conscious, and, you know, taking more action rather than just speaking words.
Last question about the name. Would you ever change your name again? Like in 10 years, could you be something else?
It depends. It depends if I'm, you know, at another level at that point. Right now, I didn't know what Metta World Peace actually meant to me at the time, but I think I made the right decision. You know, I don't know how, but I think I made the right decision. So I might keep that name, you know, for a while, but maybe if I'm at another level, you know, spiritually in a couple of years, we'll see.
Okay.
All right. Well, since your name is promoting world peace, they say that change starts with the children, and now you're promoting that in your new book. So tell us all about the new book, Metta's World Peace and Love Stories.
Definitely. You know, as a kid, we learned so much. I learned how to cook crack at the age of 13, 12.
Really?
You know, we learned how to fight at a young age. We learned on TV how to twerk. You know, little kids is twerking now. Little boys is thinking girls with big booties are bitches and things like that. But often parents don't teach, not because they don't want to, but some parents don't teach their children the importance of becoming a good partner. And that's something I've never learned personally. I didn't learn that until I was 28. You know, the importance of becoming a good partner, which is going to lead to a really strong family, a strong family foundation. And so I think is a good age is around the ages from 6 to 12. Why not teach kids how to become good partners and the importance when they become older, you know, waiting to have sex and, you know, having understanding, you know, not lying. We often grow up in a society where everybody's lying, not everybody, but a percentage of couples. They lie to each other, and that's not the right way to start off a relationship.
Right.
You said you learned how to be a good partner at 28. How did you learn that?
Well, I took parenting class. I've experienced abuse in my household. When I was a kid, I experienced separation between my parents. So I planned my first child when I was 16 years old. I actually wanted to have a child, and I wanted to be with my partner forever. But
most people try to avoid teenage pregnancy, but you actually wanted to be a father. Why?
Well, in my household, my sisters all had babies at 14, 15 years old. My mom and my auntie, so that's the type of house that I grew up in. But at a young age, I was not able to raise my child I was able to provide. I went to the NBA at age of 19. You know, I made $1 million a year, but that doesn't mean you're a good father, you know? And so at that point, I had to take parenting class, marriage counseling class, anger management class. I had all these different type of issues that I was having to address.
And you think a lot of that stemmed from the broken childhood, the broken home that you mentioned?
Absolutely.
And were you trying to strive for that? And how did it make you feel that you weren't able to attain that the way you wanted to?
I don't look back at it. I don't regret how I grew up. You know, I'm able to tell a story. But absolutely, when you have parents that's, you know, dysfunctional, arguing, abuse in the household, that affects a child, any child, not just, you know, Metta.
Right.
And so as I become more wiser and older, I just think these messages are important. And the best way to make a change is, like you said, through the kids, through the future.
Why was it important for you to break that cycle?
Well, I don't know if I broke the cycle. I'm telling my story. I'm an example. But I don't know when this cycle is going to be broken, because even though I'm here, it's still these type of situations going on in communities.
But in your personal life.
Right, in my personal life. Just becoming more aware, more conscious, studying who I am, who do I want to be, because not many people understand that purpose. I think everybody has a purpose, but we don't understand that at times. You know, you don't know who you actually are. You think you're somebody, like the streets might have raised you. So you think you're a drug dealer, you think you're a gangster. That's not really who, you know, you are.
Have you found out who you are yet and what your purpose is?
I'm still searching.
Yeah.
I'm still searching.
Life journey.
But it's fun, and I enjoy myself. You know, I have a great time. So this is something that's fun for me. It's not something that is just like boring.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you tell people, you know, I want to write children's books, what's their initial reaction?
Well, some people judge right away. Some people say this is the same guy who had the biggest fight in sports history in Detroit. Some people say this is a crazy guy from the hood, you know. People have all these type of, you know, assumptions, judgments, opinions, but, you know, I continue to move forward. That's how I win. It's like when somebody's guarding you on the court. Somebody's in front of you, go around him and score the bucket, you know, and win the game, which is the game of life.
Well, since you brought up the fight,
yes.
Shannon has a question about the fight.
Well, you know, Marcus Smart has been in the news a lot, and they've been recapping a lot of times your clip from 10 years ago when you also had the same incident and got in a brawl with an audience member. So how did you get through all the negative press 10 years ago when you were going through it, and what advice are you giving to Marcus right now?
Well, I never let somebody's opinion affect me, good or bad. Because if somebody starts to say good things about you, then you start to feel you're King Kong, right? Invincible. Or somebody say bad things and you start to feel low. I like to just continue to move. The advice I would give to Marcus is to do the same. You know, you made a mistake. Maybe it was a small mistake, maybe it was a big mistake. Who are we to judge? But just continue to move forward.
Well, you know, your name, again, is Metta World Peace, but you seem to be a little rough on the court sometimes.
I'm very aggressive.
Yeah, you're not very peaceful on the court, Metta.
No, absolutely not. I'm very, very vicious and mean on the court.
Really? Why?
Because I'm in a transition. I was in a transition on trying to play the game and just play the game. Many times I would play with passion, but I didn't understand how to control that passion. Because back in the days in the hood, we grew up play until sort of somebody has a broken bone, so to speak. Like
you play until you bleed.
It was nothing to, you know, get an elbow to the face as a young child, you know, playing against older teenagers and older men.
Wow.
And continue to play. And that's the only way that I learned how to play. So, but not many people saw those games, you know, back in the neighborhoods, you know, or going to somebody else's neighborhood and, you know, you win the game, people showing the pistol, saying if you make this free throw, we're going to pop you or something like that. And
that's what you had to deal with?
And continuing to play and not be afraid, you know, of those type of circumstances. Whoa. So I played in real harsh environments. So when I play basketball on the court, there's no way I'm going to be, there's no fear, so to speak.
Intimidated.
And I'm always on attack mode, you know, when I'm playing basketball. And that's how I learned, you know, how to play. But as I become older, I'm able to, you know, control it a little bit more.
Wow.
How are you going to balance playing with that aggression without going over the line, becoming physically, you know, violent?
Yeah, definitely. At a young age, I couldn't control it, but at this older age, more wise age. Even when we won the championship in 2010, you know, I had to be controlled mentally. I had to, or we would not have, you know, succeeded. And but it was passion inside there.
Yeah.
You know, it was some things inside that I wanted to let out, but it's not going to give me that championship ring.
Well, I have to ask you about the ring, because most guys spend their entire career chasing after a ring, and they wear it everywhere, showing it off. But after you wore and won your ring with the Lakers in 2010, you sold it. You raffled it off for $650,000 for charity.
Yes.
Why did you do that? And have you ever regretted it?
Right. I didn't regret it because at that time, and still right now, there's so many kids that need help. I was able to pay for my counseling classes. I had 3 therapists at one time.
You had 3 therapists?
Marriage, parenting, and anger management.
Really?
Yeah, all at one time.
How often were you going to therapy?
I was going, something would come to me. Sometimes I would go in, and it would be, you know, back to back.
Now, was that your choice, or did your family come to you and say you need these?
The anger management was by court ordered, and all of them was court ordered, but I continued. Years later, I still see a sports psychologist now, you know, but.
What sorts of issues do you discuss?
Well, everything. Well, before it was issues, I had to heal wounds from when I was a child, and then I had to address issues that I had now. That was before, that was years ago. Now it's simple problems. You know, we healed a lot of wounds, and instead of just putting a Band-Aid, you know, over them. So not many kids are able to pay for these services. So we decided to, you know, donate the money to different institutions, prisons, regular institutions, and work with inmates, you know, work with people outside of the prisons, and do a lot of prevention work.
Now, I know mental illness and mental health is very important to you. You also founded the organization Excel University.
Yes.
Why is that issue so close to your heart?
Well, I experienced mental health issues in my household. My dad's functional on medication. Very dysfunctional in the household. He was a leader of a dysfunctional household. My auntie is still in an institution right now. She's been there since I was like 10. I'm 34. And we took her children, they grew up with us, so those are my brothers. And my youngest brother, which is my cousin, he was in an institution since he was 10. He's 31. My older brother did 10 years in Fort Dix federal prison for drug trafficking. My little sister was in a mental institution for like 4 years. And the list goes on.
It seems like you've experienced a lot of pain and, you know, mental issues within your family.
Yeah, a lot.
What do you say to those kids out there who are going through some of those same issues that you were raised with, and you still made it out?
Just become conscious of yourself, you know, just become aware of who you are. Not many people are aware, you know, and you're not going to become aware in one day. I don't know if that can happen. And if you do, somebody might call you crazy because you've changed. You know, don't be afraid to change. Be bold. Some people are confident in themselves, but they're not confident in being themselves, you know? And like if you're on the corner with your buddy and you're smoking a cigarette, that's cool. But sometimes being yourself is also cool.
Yeah.
And people and little kids have to understand that.
Positive peer pressure.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Like I feel, I can go to any hood, so to speak, and people still like kind of love me. I have the different type of respect when I can, you know, in different environments. And I still have fans, and I'm myself, and that's a great feeling that people actually accept me for being who I am.
Was the show Necessary Roughness based on you?
I heard about that show, and if it was, I want my executive producer.
Okay.
Right, some royalties or something.
I heard about it. You know, I didn't see it yet, but they said that show might have been based on me.
All right. Well, before we go, we have to find out what your biggest fans think about your new book. You have 4 kids. Did they help you in the writing process, or? My
kids are very. Like during this finding myself stage that I'm in, my kids, they keep me grounded. Like my son is the type of person to say, "Dad, that book sucks." You know?
Oh, so did he say that to you?
That's harsh.
Not yet.
Okay, not yet.
But they tell me my music sucks all the time.
Oh.
Yeah. My kids are very honest.
Okay, well, stick to the basketball and the books, and you'll be doing fine.
You'll be just fine.
Good kids, though. Great
there
kids.
You go.
Kids.
And Metta World's Peace and Love Stories, it's out in bookstores right now. All right, we'll go check it out.
Right.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.